Ranger Touring. We're here at Cameron's Corner at the moment, and we're heading now north up to Birdsville. Follow us along for our journey. So we're on the track now between Cameron's Corner and MERTY. MERTY isn't really, like there's not a roadhouse or anything out there. It's just a point where the Strezlecki Track joins up with the track that runs back to Cameron's Corner. So there's a campsite out there, so we're gonna stay there tonight. We dropped the tyres down to 32 PSI just to make it a bit more comfortable in the dirt and the corrugations. Important to note, it's not a requirement, but because the sand dunes that you go over are quite high and you lose visibility going over them, it's definitely a good point to put a sand flag up. A lot of the park rangers have had them as we've passed them, but a lot of the other road users haven't. So keep it in mind, it's probably just a good little safety point there. So we just overshot the MERTY campsite, which is at the bottom of a pretty large sand dune. We also did see the entrance to the old Strezlecki Track. We're not going to be taking that one tomorrow. We're going to take the new Strezlecki Track. Anyway, we've had a look at the campsite, and we've just picked up a whole bunch of firewood, which is actually pretty hard to find. Now heading back to make a fire and crack a beer, and that's the end of the day. So this is MERTY campground. There's not too much of it. It's just on the side of the track that runs from Cameron's Corner through to the Strezlecki. Just set the trailer up. Plenty of space. There's a few cars that look like they might be pulling in now. Anyway, we're gonna head up to the top of the dune. See what there is. Day 5 now of this trip. We are at MERTY, and we're now going to drive over to the Strezlecki Track and head north on the Strezlecki Track up to Innamincka. We originally were going to go through Cordillo Downs, the whole track, but because the Cooper Creek is flowing too much and that crossing's all under, we're gonna have to go around. It was just us and another group here last night, so pretty quiet campsite. I don't know if it's that well known about. It's pretty unofficial, and there's no facilities or anything like that, so you do need to be reasonably self-sufficient. However, awesome spot on the track, and yeah, I was pretty happy with it. From MERTY through to Moomba, most of it was actually bitumen. But then once you pass Moomba, it goes back into dirt, and it is reasonably corrugated. When you then turn north, or turn left to head north up into Innamincka, it becomes quite smooth. That might just be because it's been graded recently, but yeah, quite a simple track. So we were meant to head from Innamincka through the Downs Road, but that's flooded and it's not looking like it's going to be changing anytime soon. It's really flowing too. You know it's bad when there's 12-meter water markers. Anyway, so we're going to go around, but we're going to stop off at the Innamincka pub for lunch, and then take a bit of a detour on the way back up to Birdsville. Start heading over that way now. So about maybe 80 k's out of Innamincka now, and we are quite literally in the middle of nowhere. No reception, but we got out to do a little bit of a segment, and I realised that I could hear the drum as it was spinning, as the wheel was spinning. It was making a loud rubbing noise, and it wasn't really free spinning, so I'm not really sure what was wrong with it. Took the tyre off, and was just starting to work on pulling this off. But I hit it with the hammer a few times and all of a sudden the noise stopped. So, dust maybe? I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna put it back together and keep going. So this is camp for tonight. This is a spot I found on Wikicamps, very unofficial. It's called Top of Range, and you can probably tell why. It's right on top of the range. You can see about 5-6 k's in that direction, and then it's reasonably flat in that direction there, where it's yeah, not a lot going on out there. Anyway, we'll set up camp, just collecting some fire from the one tree that's about 150 meters down the hill. Probably crack a beer. Early this morning. We're going to head a little bit different from what we originally planned. So the Downs track is meant to be quite rocky, and a lot of people reckon they've done tyres on it. You know, we're pretty close to getting to Birdsville now. Probably just don't want to have any major issues. The trailer's starting to have you know, some grinding and stuff like that, so probably thought we'd take it a bit of a safer route. So instead we're going to go up to Haddon's Corner, which is that sort of top right hand portion of South Australia and Queensland, where that border is. So for that's a bit more of a full driving track, so finally get to put the car in full drive. Might take the trailer off, we'll see how we go. The first engine on the way up, nothing to it. I am in full drive, but haven't really done anything with my tyres. Probably have to let them down to come back over, because it is a whole lot softer and a reasonably steep climb up the hill. A bit bouncy. So this is Haddon's Corner, just heading out to the landmarker for it, and then we're going to cook up lunch. Dunes really weren't too much of an issue. Going back over might be a bit more interesting, but give that a crack, it'll be a lot of fun I think. Nice little detour. Down the Birdsville Development Road. It's partially gravel and a little bit corrugated, but really quite a good road. And then the other part is bitumen as well, so it's really good. Just went to DIONS Lookout. It was meant to be our spot for tonight, but that's actually a major tourist destination out here. There was heaps and heaps of people. There was tour buses and everything heading up the hill, so we're not going to stay there. We're going to head towards Batuta and see if we can find a spot, and we'll see how we go from there. So we're on our last stretch for the day. We're still travelling down the Birdsville Development Road, and at the moment the traffic has definitely increased because we're getting closer to Birdsville and a lot of people are obviously going for the Big Red Bash. We just pulled into Batuta, which had a massive area. I'm not sure if you had to pay or not, but there was these massive fields and there's probably 300 odd caravans in there. As well as that too, the pub was going off, everything was going off. That's a hell of a place to stay if you love camping on top of each other. It looked like it had a great atmosphere all the same, but we're just going to punch forward a little bit further and just maybe try and see if we can find a quieter spot along the road. So I found a pretty awesome campsite. This is at the back of one of the rest stops. Follow down from the toilet block, which you can kind of see the distance. Heaps of areas to camp. So we're just pulling up here tonight, grabbing some firewood, and it's about 85 k's out of Birdsville, so we'll be able to get in there nice and early tomorrow morning. is our last day on the road before we get to Birdsville. We're just in the middle of packing up the trailer at the moment. But what you'll notice, probably can't see it right now, but there has just been vans going up and down that road all day. So this is our second day now in Birdsville. We got in yesterday just around lunchtime. The fuel stop at the roadhouse was just absolutely going off chops. Police were sort of navigating people through. There's a lot of vans. This is probably not the sort of camping we're used to. You're kind of on top of each other. People are like right next to you. But you know what, it's still really good. That ends another episode of Ranger Touring. Thanks for tuning in.